Good morning, all you folks out there in YouTube Nation. Thrash Pondo here, and as I promised you, I'm going to have more content this week. Now, originally, I was going to do a post on a series I'm doing about sci fi and horror originals I'm finding right here on YouTube, and I do have more of that. But today, I have something that I feel takes a little bit of precedent. Many of you have been asking me about what the potential outcome of this Hurricane Lee is going to be. You folks are very concerned. You know, I'm in the not quite direct, but certainly on the path of it. And your outpouring of concern for me has meant a lot. So I'm gonna go over a few things really quick. This is gonna be a long post, but I just want to touch base with you folks and let you know where I stand and what my fellow New Englanders should also be doing, and share a few other sites that could shed even more wisdom and insight on this matter. Long story short, as I'm sure you folks know, Lee is I believe it's just past Bermuda now, or it's about to, and it's coming right up the Atlantic coast. There's a couple of jet stream troughs that are almost playing ping pong with it. The one that we were hoping would carry it away did not, and the one that is coming in might actually pull it a little closer to us. But as far as we can tell now, it's going to be a near miss for the Cape and Islands. It's going to come right up past us. Now, the problem with it is it's so big, even a near miss is going to be pretty harsh. But it's not going to be a direct hit. For those of you who remember Hurricane Bob back in '91, and I know that was way before some of your times, you little whippersnappers. But Hurricane Bob was an absolute direct hit, and Hurricane Bob trashed Cape Cod. I remember going to bed by candlelight for about 6 days, living on canned ravioli. Around day 4, when the water pressure dropped, that's when I started getting really concerned. I mean, we survived it, but oh, the Cape was a mess. And someday I'll tell you my steak tip story. I just don't have the heart to do that right now. But anyway, this is going to be more of a nasty graze. Now, they're talking wind gusts in excess of 67 miles per hour, and that's damaging. We might get a few power outages. They're talking really high seas. So, everyone, locals, people, most of you know this already, people visiting the Cape, do not go in the water. They're talking riptides, where that's all of a sudden the current switches gears and all of a sudden starts going back out to sea, taking anything along with it, like people dumb enough to swim in it, and get a lot of people drowning that way. So don't go in the water. Just try to stick on the beach and watch what the weird waves are doing. But this whole thing, it's going to actually start coming up our way late Friday night and early Saturday morning. And I'm going to give you a visual. We used to teach Cape Cod kids when they're little about Cape Cod looks like an arm. I live right about here, right? It's this outer edge that's going to be absolutely horsewhipped by the storm. They're talking erosion. That's where you're going to see most of your power outages. That's where you're going to see most of the real headaches. The oddest part, though, is when it comes around, they're talking inside Cape Cod Bay. There's going to be record high tides, a lot of erosion damages. This thing might even affect Boston Harbor. But the good news is I'm actually, well, for me, is that I'm actually on Nantucket Sound side. Now, we're going to get, it was raining really bad last night, so the ground is already saturated. They're a little concerned about flooding. I'm not in a flood zone. I haven't quite figured out how that's possible. I think because I live near a pond, so all the water just sort of runs into the pond. The pond does flood its banks every now and then. One time I had a little duck pond in my backyard, but that never actually made it into the downstairs lower level of my split level. Good thing, too, 'cause that's where Mama Thrash now lives. So she might get a foot bath, but we're really hoping no flooding. But anyway, again, late Friday night into Saturday morning. As it passes us, you'll see that wave effect and the erosion in Cape Cod Bay. It's then going to continue, and it looks like it's going to direct hit our cousins in Maine. or Nova Scotia. They haven't quite worked out because this thing's kind of wobbling a lot. But either way, by the time another piece of good news is, as it hits the cooler waters, I know that's funny because right now we have record high water temps. But as it hits cooler waters, it lowers in intensity. It was a 4 or 5 category at one point. It's down to about a 2. It could be down to about a 1 by the time it goes by us, and fingers crossed tropical storm level when it does hit the mainland. But it's going to be a mess. And also, for some reason, when it lowers in intensity, it somehow picks up more water. So sadly, while the winds may not be as bad, it sounds like you could actually get more rain, so it's a trade off. Anyway, my hurricane preparedness kit is ready. I have tarps, I have twine, ropes, really, duct tape, zip ties, a lot of batteries of varying size, all kinds of little lighting devices. I got my solar powered NOAA radio with the hand cranks. When it's cloudy, I can keep cranking it up. Enough canned goods to sit out the apocalypse. That's another story. And all our medication stuff like that are all good to go. Yeah, I had to go get more water last night because, as I'm sure some of you remember the story, my Mrs. Thrash actually found my last hurricane preparedness kit and drank all the 1.5 bottles while she shared them with me. But I'm like, where is she getting all these bottles? She's drinking my hurricane preparedness kit. But anyway, that's up to 100%. Anyway, all my fellow New Englanders, please be safe. This is a serious one. It's not going to be as bad, knock on Formica, not as bad as Hurricane Bob, but it's a big deal. And to all my friends and channel members in the rest of the country and the world, just know Thrash is hunkered down, or will be hunkered down. I'm going to fill my gas tank today. Always have a full tank in one of these, because you never know when you're going to have to bug out and not be able to get gas. That's actually a big deal. I don't think I'm going to have to bug out, but you don't want to have to be driving off Cape when you're at a quarter tank of gas. And if the gas stations don't have power, they won't be able to fill your tank. So always go into a hurricane with a full tank of gas, and do yourselves a favor, charge your phones. Because if you lose power, see Rule 1. Of course, you can always plug it into your car and plug it in from that if the tank is full. Another thing I want to share with you folks, I have a channel friend his name is Jewel7409. He is a guru when it comes to the weather, and he puts out these posts, and they're absolutely amazing. They're thorough, concise, informative about not just Hurricane Lee, about day-to-day weather, week after week, 52 weeks a year. Always lets you know what the biggest things to be concerned about are. But the best thing about him is not only is he very informative, but he speaks down to you. He makes these very digestible. I'm a layman, and I'm like, oh my god, I understand. He actually sometimes is easier to understand than some weathermen that you'll see on the Weather Channel and whatnot. And he has an incredibly soothing voice, so he can tell you about an extinction event storm and make it sound like it's something that we can all deal with. So, I'm going to leave that again. It's Jewel7409. I'm going to leave that in the description down below. Check his channel out, like, subscribe, but definitely check it out on this one because he's been incredibly up to date on the effects of Lee. Anyway, I was actually thinking if I'm up, I have 2 schools of thought. I might try to sleep through it, wake up the next morning singing "There's Got to Be a Morning After." But if I'm up, I might do a series of little live posts just to show what the progression is, how we're holding up, and whatnot. If you guys would like to see that, let me know. I don't know how much I'll be able to show you because we don't have a lot of light in this area. But if you guys want lively updates, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's all I got for you right now. Be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you after the storm passes. Peace.